It was 6:47 p.m. on a rainy Thursday when Emma's phone buzzed. The name on the screen made her pause. Ryan Matthews. She hadn't heard from him in months. Ryan wasn't a close friend, he was her friend Mark's younger brother, but something about his message felt urgent. Hey, can you give me a ride home? It's a long story. Emma hesitated. Mark had warned her about Ryan's sudden, dramatic requests, but she typed back quickly. Where are you? He replied almost instantly, giving her an address that was a 20-minute drive from her apartment. Emma grabbed her coat, slipped on her sneakers, and left. The rain had softened to a light drizzle, the kind that made the city streets glisten under the orange streetlights. When she pulled into the small parking lot, Ryan was standing under the awning, looking unusually serious. His usual grin was gone, replaced by something quieter, almost shy. He waved when he saw her. Thanks for coming, he said as she unlocked the car. I know this is sudden. Emma smiled. Don't worry about it. Hop in. The drive started in silence. The city passed by in streaks of yellow and red through the rain-spotted windshield. Emma stole glances at him, noticing details she'd never paid attention to before, the way he kept his hands clasped nervously on his lap, the slight tension in his jaw. Rough day? She asked softly. Ryan nodded. Something like that. It's complicated. Emma wanted to press, but she didn't. Sometimes, people just needed to speak when they were ready. She focused on the road, letting the rain drum a steady rhythm on the roof. After 10 minutes, Ryan finally spoke again. I didn't know who else to ask. I needed someone I trust. His voice was quiet, almost vulnerable. Emma felt a flicker of concern. You can trust me, she said without hesitation. Whatever it is, you don't have to explain yet. He exhaled, a long, shaky breath. The silence that followed was different, now heavier but less uncomfortable. He seemed to be gathering courage, like he was holding back words that had been trapped for weeks. When they reached a quieter part of town, he finally turned to her. Emma, there's something I need to tell you, something I've kept inside for a long time. Emma's heart skipped a beat. She could sense the gravity in his tone. You don't have to if you're not ready, she said gently. No, I have to. I can't keep it to myself anymore, he said. His eyes avoided hers, staring out the window at the blurred streetlights. It's about Mark, and it's about me. Emma felt a pang of curiosity mixed with worry. What about him? Ryan paused, swallowing hard. I didn't know how to tell him. I didn't even know how to tell anyone, but I've been struggling with something serious, and I didn't want him to worry. Emma reached over instinctively and gave his arm a light squeeze. You're not alone, she said. You can tell me. For the next few minutes, he stayed silent, collecting his thoughts. Emma could feel his anxiety in the way his fingers fidgeted on his knees. She waited patiently, offering him a quiet presence that seemed to give him strength. Finally, he spoke, his voice breaking just slightly. I've been dealing with depression, and I didn't want to burden Mark. He has enough on his plate already. I felt like I had to handle it on my own. Emma's chest tightened. She had suspected something, but hearing it out loud made it real. Ryan, thank you for trusting me, she said softly. It's not a burden, and you don't have to face it alone anymore. His eyes flickered toward hers, gratitude mixing with a vulnerability that was almost painful to witness. I just didn't know who to tell. Everyone has their lives, you know. I didn't want to ruin theirs. Emma shook her head. Sharing it doesn't ruin anyone. It makes them care. And it's okay to need help. You deserve support too. The car grew quiet again, but this time, it was a comforting silence. The rain had eased, leaving the streets shimmering in the dim glow of streetlights. Emma felt a connection forming, a quiet trust that wasn't there before. As they approached the turn for his apartment, Ryan exhaled heavily. I'm glad I called you, he admitted. I was scared too. I thought, maybe I'd be judged. Emma smiled gently. You won't be. Not by me. He nodded, the tension in his shoulders easing just a little. It feels weirdly relieving, like a weight is lifted. They parked outside his building. Ryan sat still for a moment, staring at the raindrop-streaked windows, then turned to her. Emma, thank you again. I mean it. I don't know how I would have handled tonight without you. She nodded, her own chest warm with empathy. Anytime, Ryan. That's what friends are for. He gave a small, shy smile. Maybe I can start trying to be more open, with Mark too. Eventually, Emma squeezed his hand briefly. One step at a time. That's all anyone can ask. As he stepped out into the damp evening, she watched him walk toward the building entrance, feeling a quiet sense of hope. Maybe this night wasn't just about a ride, it was about a new beginning. A fragile but real opening of trust. As Emma drove away, her thoughts lingered on Ryan's confession. There was something raw and honest about it that stayed with her. Something that made her realize how important it was to have someone you could truly lean on. If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. The night air felt cooler now, carrying a promise that some things were only just beginning. But Emma couldn't shake the feeling that there was more behind Ryan's quiet revelation, something even deeper than he had shared tonight. And as the city lights blurred past, a nagging curiosity kept her mind spinning. What had made him finally open up now, after months of silence? The next morning, Emma woke to the sound of her phone buzzing. It was a text from Ryan. She hesitated before opening it. Something about last night's ride lingered in her mind, a mix of relief and unease. "Thanks again for yesterday. Can we talk more soon? I think I need it." She typed back quickly, "Of course. Just let me know when." Throughout the day, Emma couldn't focus. Her mind kept returning to Ryan's confession. She knew how hard it was for people to open up about mental health, especially someone like him, always trying to appear strong, always making light of serious things. By late afternoon, she decided to go for a walk. The air was crisp, with leaves swirling around the sidewalks. Emma's thoughts drifted. She wondered what Mark would say if he knew. She hesitated. After all, this was Ryan's story to tell. But part of her felt protective, like she needed to be there for him. When her phone buzzed again, she saw Ryan's name. "Can you pick me up? I don't want to be alone tonight." Emma took a deep breath. "Okay. I'm on my way." By the time she reached him, dusk had fallen. Ryan was sitting on the steps outside his apartment building, hoodie pulled over his head, hands tucked inside the pockets. He looked smaller, somehow, more vulnerable than she remembered. "Hey," Emma said softly, lowering her voice so it didn't carry. He looked up and gave a small, almost embarrassed smile. "Hey." She joined him on the steps, careful to leave space between them. "Do you want to talk? Or just sit for a while?" Ryan shook his head. "I think I need to talk. I've been carrying this for a long time, and last night felt like the first time I could breathe a little." Emma nodded. "Good. Then start wherever you feel comfortable." He fidgeted with the hem of his hoodie. "It's not easy. I've always been the one everyone comes to for advice. Everyone thinks I've got it together. But inside, it's been different. Lonely. Heavy. I've been trying to cope, but sometimes I feel stuck." Emma listened quietly. The words hung in the air, heavy but honest. "You're not alone," she repeated. "It's okay to feel stuck. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you human." Ryan exhaled sharply. "I didn't know how to say that to Mark. He's my brother. I didn't want him to worry or think less of me." Emma tilted her head. "Sharing doesn't make you less, it can make the bond stronger. And you don't have to do it all alone anymore." He looked at her, his eyes reflecting gratitude and hesitation. "It's strange. I've wanted to talk for months, but I couldn't find the words. I guess having you listen makes it easier." Emma gave a reassuring smile. "Then I'm glad I'm here. You don't have to rush. Just speak as it comes." For a while, they sat in silence, the city noise distant around them. Emma noticed the way Ryan's shoulders seemed less tense, the way his breathing had steadied. The night had softened, the darkness less oppressive than before. Finally, he spoke again, voice low. "There's more. I didn't just struggle with feeling alone. I've been dealing with anxiety, and it's been controlling me more than I realized. Panic attacks, sleepless nights. I didn't want anyone to see that side of me." Emma reached out, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. "Thank you for trusting me with this. You're stronger than you think, Ryan. It takes courage to admit what's going on." He looked down, chewing his lip. "I've tried therapy before. I didn't stick with it. It felt impossible. But talking to someone now, it feels different, less scary." Emma nodded. "Sometimes, the right support can make all the difference. You just need to find the right way for you, and I'll help you however I can." He smiled faintly. "I don't know why, but tonight feels lighter, like maybe I can actually take the first step. I just didn't know where to start." Emma squeezed his shoulder gently. "Start by talking, like you are now. That's a step. And when you're ready, we can think about the next step together." Ryan's gaze wandered to the dim streetlights, reflections glimmering in the puddles. "It's weird, feeling hope again. I didn't think I'd feel this." Emma smiled softly. "Hope has a way of sneaking in when you least expect it. You just have to let it stay." For a moment, they were quiet again, letting the night settle around them. Emma felt the weight of Ryan's honesty, and the delicate trust between them seemed to grow stronger, deeper than words could explain. "Emma," Ryan began, hesitating. I know it's a lot to put on you, and I don't want to overstep, but can we do this again? Not just tonight, but check in, maybe. Sometimes I feel like I need someone to just be there. Emma felt a warmth spread through her chest. Yes, we can do that. You don't have to go through this alone anymore. He gave a small, genuine smile, the kind that felt like a crack in the armor he usually wore. Thank you. Really? As they drove back to Emma's apartment, the streets wet and shimmering from the earlier rain, she realized something profound. Sometimes, the people who seem the strongest are carrying the heaviest burdens. And sometimes, the simplest acts of kindness, offering a ride, listening without judgment, can be the first step toward real healing. But Emma couldn't shake a lingering thought. Ryan's struggles felt deeper than what he had shared so far. And there was something in his quiet tone, the way he avoided certain words, that made her suspect there was more waiting to come out. As she dropped him off, the night air felt crisp and full of possibility. Ryan waved, smiling faintly, but his eyes still held a shadow that Emma couldn't quite place. Something about him had changed tonight. He seemed lighter. Yes, but she knew the road ahead wouldn't be simple. There were still truths unspoken, feelings untouched, and Emma had a sense that what he had shared was only the beginning. The following weekend, Emma found herself thinking about Ryan more than she expected. His quiet honesty had left a mark on her, a lingering mix of concern and curiosity. She knew she couldn't push him, but she also sensed he might be ready to open up further. Late Saturday morning, her phone buzzed. It was Ryan. Hey, you freed this afternoon? I'd like to talk again. Emma smiled. I'm free. Want me to come by? Yeah, that'd be good. When she arrived at his apartment, he greeted her at the door with a nervous smile. He looked a little more relaxed than the last time, though the tension in his shoulders hadn't completely vanished. Hey, Emma said, stepping inside. Coffee, please, he replied, leading her to the small kitchen. He poured them both mugs and set them on the counter. The warmth of the steam seemed to match the quiet comfort between them. They leaned against the counter, sipping slowly. Ryan's fingers traced the rim of his mug. I've been thinking about what I told you, and there's more I need to say. Stuff I haven't told anyone. Emma nodded. Take your time. I'm listening. He swallowed, his eyes flicking to hers. I've been scared of being judged, even by my brother. I know he'd worry, but I didn't want him to see me as weak. And part of me, I guess I was embarrassed. Emma gave a soft smile. It's normal to feel that way, but sharing doesn't make you weak. It shows courage. It's a step toward healing. Ryan exhaled slowly. I've been hiding a lot. My anxiety, my depression. I thought if I kept it inside, I could handle it, but the truth is, I can't. And it's exhausting. Emma reached out and lightly touched his hand. You don't have to handle it alone anymore. Not ever. For a moment, he just looked at her, vulnerability and gratitude mixing in his gaze. I think that's why I reached out to you. I trust you in a way I don't trust anyone else right now. And that feels scary and comforting at the same time. Emma nodded. It's okay to feel both. You're allowed to be scared and relieved at the same time. It's part of being human. He took a deep breath, setting his mug down. I didn't just want to talk about my feelings. I wanted to ask for help. More practical help, like strategies, coping mechanisms, maybe someone to check in with. Emma smiled softly. We can do that. We can figure it out together. You don't have to face this alone anymore. Ryan leaned back, a faint smile tugging at his lips. It feels strange to ask for help. I've always been the helper. Now, I'm learning it's okay to receive. Emma felt a warm surge in her chest. There was a tenderness in this moment, a fragile connection forged through honesty and trust. It's okay, she said. Receiving help doesn't take away your strength. It adds to it. They talked for hours, not just about struggles and fears, but about small victories, hopes for the future, and the little things that made life feel lighter. Ryan shared memories he hadn't told anyone, moments that shaped who he was, and Emma listened, offering quiet reassurance. As evening approached, the sky outside deepened into shades of purple and blue. Ryan's demeanor had softened noticeably. Thank you, he said quietly, for being here, for listening, for making me feel less alone. Emma smiled, her heart full. You're never alone, and I'll keep reminding you, as many times as you need. For a brief moment, they sat in silence, the room bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun. It felt peaceful, yet Emma sensed an undercurrent of hesitation. Ryan had shared so much, but there was still a layer he hadn't touched: the deeper fears, the moments that haunted him in private. Finally, he spoke, almost in a whisper. Emma, there's something else. Something I've kept hidden because I didn't want anyone to see the real me, and I don't even know how to start. Emma reached out, squeezing his hand gently. You can start wherever you feel safe. I'll listen. No judgment. He nodded, taking a shaky breath. It's about mistakes I've made, decisions I regret, things that make me feel unworthy sometimes. I've been carrying them alone for so long, and I don't know how to let them go. Emma felt a pang in her chest. She understood more than she could put into words. We all have regrets, Ryan, but they don't define you. You're allowed to forgive yourself, and I'll help you do that. His eyes glistened slightly, emotion brimming beneath the surface. I hope so. I really hope so. The room was quiet, the kind of quiet that held a mixture of sadness, hope, and something tenderly fragile. Emma realized this conversation was more than just therapy or advice. It was a bridge, a connection built on trust, honesty, and empathy. As night settled in, Ryan glanced toward the window, the city lights twinkling like distant stars. I think, maybe I'm ready to face some of these things. Slowly, but maybe I can. Emma nodded, her heart heavy but hopeful. One step at a time, and I'll be right here with you. He smiled, a faint but genuine expression that warmed the room. Thank you, Emma. You've made this less scary than I imagined. As she left his apartment, the night air felt cooler, carrying a quiet promise. Ryan had started to open up, but Emma sensed there were still layers beneath his calm exterior, fears, and secrets he hadn't yet shared. And deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that what he would reveal next might change everything between them, or at least, change the way she saw him forever. Emma woke early the next morning, sunlight slipping through the blinds and landing across her pillow. She lay still for a moment, thinking about everything Ryan had shared the day before. His honesty had surprised her. But what lingered even more was the weight behind his unfinished words, those regrets he hadn't yet named. After breakfast, she checked her phone. No messages from him. She told herself not to worry, but a quiet unease settled in her chest. It wasn't fear, exactly, just concern. A soft wondering about how he was handling the morning after such vulnerability. By early afternoon, her phone finally buzzed. Hey, are you busy? Can we talk? It's important. Emma replied quickly. Of course. Want me to come by? Yeah, please. When she arrived, Ryan opened the door almost immediately, as if he had been standing behind it waiting. His expression was tense, but not closed off, more like someone bracing to finally let something go. Hey, Emma said softly. Hey. He stepped aside so she could enter. Thanks for coming. They settled onto the couch, the room quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Ryan rubbed his hands together, trying to steady himself. I didn't sleep much, he admitted. My mind kept replaying everything, and I realized, I can't move forward until I tell you the rest. Emma nodded gently. Whenever you're ready. He took a slow breath, staring at his hands. I've been carrying guilt for a long time. Years, actually, and I've never talked about it. Not with Mark. Not with anyone. I didn't think I deserved to. Emma leaned in a little. You're safe here, Ryan. You can share what's on your mind. He swallowed. Do you remember when I dropped out of college for a year? Everyone thought it was because I was overwhelmed. But the truth was, I failed. Hard. Not just classes. I failed myself. I got stuck in this loop of feeling like I wasn't good enough. And one day, I just quit, packed up and came home without telling anyone. Emma blinked, surprised. She remembered that time. Mark had said Ryan just needed a break. Ryan continued, voice low. When Mark found out, he was disappointed, but he tried not to show it. I pretended everything was fine. But inside, I felt like I had thrown away every good thing in my life. That guilt, it never left. Emma touched his arm gently. You were dealing with more than anyone realized. That doesn't make you a failure. It makes you human. Ryan shook his head. That wasn't the worst part. She waited silently, giving him space. He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. When I came home, I told myself I'd use the time to figure out my life. Instead, I hid. I stayed in my room for weeks, pretending I was applying for jobs, pretending I was fine, but I wasn't. I didn't know how to admit it, and I hated myself for it. Emma's heart tightened. She could hear the pain in his voice, the years of shame bottled up and now spilling out in slow, fragile pieces. Ryan, you were struggling. That doesn't make you weak. He looked up at her, eyes tired but sincere. It wasn't just struggling. It was avoidance. Fear. I let time slip by because I didn't know how to move. And when I finally tried to fix things, I felt like it was too late. Like I'd never catch up. Emma shook her head gently. It's never too late. You're trying now. That matters. He looked away, breathing slowly. I've always admired people who seem to have everything figured out. People like you. Steady. Someone who knows how to show up for others. Emma smiled softly. I don't always have everything figured out. I just try to do the best I can, the same way you're trying now. For a moment, the room softened. Ryan's shoulders relaxed slightly, as if her words gave him permission to breathe more freely. I think that's why I've been reaching out, he said quietly. Talking to you feels possible. It makes facing things seem less terrifying. Emma felt warmth spread through her chest. She cared about him more than she had expected to. I'm glad I can help, and I'll keep showing up for you. You don't have to ask. He looked at her, something tender and unsure flickering in his eyes. It means more than you know. For a while, they sat together in the quiet living room, sunlight stretching long across the floor. There was no rush, no pressure, just two people sharing the kind of conversation that carved deeper trust with every word. Finally, Ryan spoke again. I'm scared of telling Mark. I'm scared he'll look at me differently, but I know I need to. Eventually, Emma nodded. When you're ready, we can talk through how to tell him. You won't have to face that alone either. Ryan gave a small, grateful smile. Thank you. He leaned back against the couch, exhaling slowly. There's something harder to admit. I've been avoiding people because I didn't want them to see how much I was struggling. I pushed people away. I missed birthdays. I ignored messages. I canceled plans. And every time I did, I told myself I'd make it up later. But later never came. Emma listened quietly. That happens when people are hurting. It doesn't make you a bad person. His voice softened. I just feel like I lost so much time. Emma placed her hand gently over his. Then let's focus on what you can do now. The time ahead of you, not what you missed. He nodded, eyes glistening slightly. I want to try. I want to build something better. I just hope I'm not too late. Emma squeezed his hand, offering a steady warmth. You're not too late, Ryan. You're right on time. For the first time that afternoon, he smiled fully, soft, hopeful, and real. But then his expression shifted. A new hesitation crept in. He took a slow breath, as if preparing himself. Emma, there's one more thing I haven't said, he murmured. Something deeper. Something I've never told anyone. And I don't know how you'll react. Emma's heart tightened. You can tell me, whatever it is. Ryan looked down, hands clasped tightly, voice barely above a whisper. It's about why I called you that night. The real reason. It wasn't just because I didn't want to be alone. He hesitated, the words hovering on the edge. And Emma felt her breath catch, knowing whatever he said next might change everything between them. Ryan's silence stretched for a few long seconds, the kind that felt fragile, almost breakable. Emma watched him carefully. His hands were clasped tight, as if he was steadying himself before stepping into a truth he had avoided for too long. When he finally spoke, his voice was low and uncertain. The real reason I called you that night. I didn't know who else to reach out to. But it wasn't just that. Emma's breath softened. Go on. I'm here. He nodded slowly, eyes fixed on the floor. I called because I trust you, more than anyone. But there was something else. Something I didn't want to admit even to myself. Emma's chest tightened, with a quiet mix of worry and calm anticipation. It's okay. You can say it. He lifted his gaze, meeting her eyes for just a moment before looking away again. I didn't just need someone to sit with me. I needed you. Specifically you. Emma felt the words settle gently, like snow landing on a quiet street. She didn't speak yet. She let him continue. I didn't know how to explain it then, he said softly, but being around you makes me feel steady, like I can breathe again. I haven't felt that with anyone in a long time. Her heart softened. She kept her expression open and calm. Ryan exhaled, the sound shaky. And I know you're Mark's friend. I know I shouldn't make things complicated. That's part of why I kept quiet. But that night, when everything felt heavy and dark, your name was the only one I could even think of. Emma leaned in slightly, keeping her tone gentle. I understand. And there's nothing wrong with reaching out to someone who makes you feel safe. Ryan blinked, almost surprised at her calm response. I just didn't want you to think I was using my problems as a way to get close to you. That's not it. I've been trying to sort out my feelings, but everything felt tangled. Emma nodded. Feelings get complicated, especially when someone's going through something hard. But honesty is better than sitting with something that hurts you. He took another breath. There's more. And this part, I've been scared to say. She waited, steady and patient. I started realizing, he said quietly, that you're the one person I feel comfortable with, the one who makes things feel less impossible. And I didn't expect that. I wasn't looking for it, but it happened anyway. Emma felt the weight of his words, soft, sincere, uncertain. She spoke carefully, choosing warmth over conclusions. Ryan, your feelings matter. They're not something to be ashamed of or afraid of. He looked at her, searching her face for any sign of discomfort. So, you're not upset, not bothered that I feel this way? She shook her head. No. You've trusted me with the hardest parts of your life, and this is part of it too. I'm not upset. Something softened in his eyes, like a tightly wound string loosening. I didn't want to lose your support, or your presence. That was my biggest fear. Emma offered a small, gentle smile. You won't lose that, no matter what. I care about you, Ryan. And I want you to feel safe talking to me. He blinked again, this time with a quiet sense of relief. I can't tell you how much that means. They sat quietly for a moment, letting the truth settle between them. It wasn't dramatic or overwhelming. It was calm, tender, and real, like something unfolding gently instead of breaking apart. Ryan leaned back slowly, shoulders finally relaxing. I think this is the first time in years that I've said everything out loud. It feels strange, but good. Emma nodded. Sometimes speaking the truth is the first real step forward. He gave a faint smile. I've been afraid of being seen, really seen, but you didn't pull away. I wouldn't, she said softly. You deserve people who stay. His eyes glistened with something quiet and grateful. I want to get better. I want to work through all the things I've avoided. The old guilt, the fear, the anxiety, all of it. And I feel like I can actually do that now. Emma felt warmth bloom in her chest. You can, and I'll be here to support you, one step at a time. Ryan nodded, breathing more evenly. I know I still have things to work through. And I'm not rushing anything. I just needed you to know why I reached out the way I did, why that night mattered. Emma's voice softened. Thank you for telling me. It takes courage to open up like that. He gave her a small, genuine smile, the kind that carried both relief and something tender. I'm glad you were the one who picked up the phone. Outside, the late afternoon sun dipped behind the trees, filling the apartment with a warm, golden glow. Everything felt calm, intentional, unhurried. Ryan leaned back, finally looking more at peace than she had seen him in a long time. I think, for the first time, I'm hopeful about what comes next. Emma smiled. You should be. There was no rush to define what they were or what they might become. There didn't need to be. What mattered now was that Ryan was beginning to heal and that Emma's presence had helped him take his first real steps. And as they sat together in the warm quiet of his living room, both of them understood something unspoken. Some connections don't arrive loudly. They grow slowly, quietly, through trust, honesty, and moments when someone simply chooses to stay.